Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'm gonna walk you through my Instagram filter inspired foundation routine. So this is full coverage, long lasting, sweat proof, heat proof. I've worn this with a mask. I've worn this in the scorching hot weather, and I've taken many pictures with this foundation routine, and it looks so good every single time. This entire moment is honestly inspired by the Haley's Beauty Retouch Perfecting Loose Setting Powder, which is my holy grail setting powder, and it is officially back in stock. And if you use my code JUICY, you get $5 off at checkout. This is the best loose setting powder I've ever used. From the moment that I put this on my skin last summer, I just immediately thought that my skin was so smooth and airbrushed. And the best way for me to describe it was like an Instagram filter, just so smoothing. So you guys are of course gonna see this in action, as well as some of my other favorites from Haley's and a couple other products as well. So I wanna thank Haley's Beauty for sponsoring today's video. I am always super excited to work with brands that I use all the time on my channel. I love Haley's. They do complexion so well. Their products are all vegan, cruelty-free, fragrance-free, and the founder of Haley's is a female chemist, so you know the products are going to be good. And each of the products actually do have a skincare benefit in them, which we will talk about in the video today. So these are all just products that work really well hand in hand together and then on their own as well. And they're just my go-tos. Like I go to them whenever I know I want to wear my makeup for a long time and I don't want to have to worry about it. I don't want to touch up constantly. These are the products that I go to. So I hope you guys enjoy this video. Definitely grab a snack and subscribe if you have not already. And if you want to see this full coverage Instagram filter inspired foundation routine, then let's get into it. So my skin is prepped and ready to go. I did my morning skincare, and I will link that down below if you guys want to check it out and see all the products that I have been loving. I usually like to let my skincare sit in for at least 20 to 30 minutes if I have time, of course, just so that everything absorbs and sinks in really nicely. So I'm gonna jump straight into primer water. So I like to do a primer water, and then I will go in with a normal like pore filling primer or like a grip primer to make my makeup last, or mattifying. It really varies. I switch up my primer quite a bit, but primer spray for me is always a must. I feel like my products just melt into the skin a little bit better. They don't settle into my fine lines as much, like my smile lines. And then at the end of the day, my makeup doesn't feel or look super heavy. I always say this, but I am a primer believer, and I think primer water especially makes a huge difference. So my current favorite is from Milani. It's the Fruit Fetish Dragon Fruit Peach Scented Spray. I love this one, as well as their Mango Coconut. This just smells very summery, very fresh, but it's not too overpowering. It's a really light scent. It's not going to linger throughout the day. I'm almost out of the Mango Coconut one. This is another favorite that I have. These are both really good. So you can use this before makeup, to set your makeup, and also to refresh your makeup throughout the day. So I'm going to use this today before and after. So I'm going to just basically drench in this. I feel like the more primer water, honestly, the better. So I'm going to just spray the face. If you're not really into scents and you want just something more basic, but you still want a primer water, the NYX Bear With Me Prime Set and Refresh Spray is also one of my favorites. It's really, really good. Then I'm gonna go in with the Haley's Beauty Refine Primer. This is one of my go-to pore filling primers. It is so smoothing. It makes your skin look just absolutely poreless, and it looks really great under any foundation. It's just like one of those universal pore filling primers that doesn't dry out the skin, but that really does a good job at just smoothing everything out. So it's very lightweight. A little bit of it goes a long way. I do like maybe a little bit more than a dime size amount, and I like to concentrate most of the product on my T-zone around my chin, and then also in between my brows, and then with any extra product I will just apply the rest to the rest of my face. And one of my favorite skincare benefits in this primer is actually vitamin C, so it brightens and evens out your skin tone, which I love. Okay, now on to my favorite part of doing my makeup, and that is foundation. I just love watching the transformation on my skin. So today I'm going in with the Haley's Reform Liquid Luxe Luminous Foundation, and I'm gonna be mixing two shades because I did get a little tan this past week. It's not a very cute tan. It's completely faded at this point, honestly, and it's very uneven. I don't know if you can really tell. Yeah, it doesn't look good at all. But the shade 2.50, which I'm typically in, is a little too light for me at the moment. So what I do to get my perfect shade right now is I take a pump of 3.25 and a little drop of 4.30, and it's a really good match for this tan, if you want to call it, right now that I have going on. And I'm going to use their Remix Complexion Sponge today. This is a really great beauty blender dupe, and it's literally like less than half of the price. So I just mix the two right on the back of my hand. Just like that. Like I said, a little bit goes a long way. This is the prettiest oil-free dewy foundation. It just gives you this really beautiful, like healthy, radiant look to your skin. And the skincare ingredient in this is actually plant-derived ribose. So that is what's gonna give your skin that radiant, healthy glow. It almost feels like a CC cream on the skin, but it gives you that coverage of a foundation. So super lightweight, but great coverage. So for concealer today, I'm gonna go in with the CoverGirl Undercover True Blend Concealer. I have this one in the shade Golden Natural. This is one of my favorite full coverage concealers. It's super hydrating, and I go back and forth between this one and the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer, which I also love. In this one, I'm in the shade Medium Peach, but I've been using this a ton, so I'm gonna use the CoverGirl one today. So with my concealer, I like to use a pretty good amount, about that much, because I'm gonna be distributing the rest of the product onto the rest of my face. So I used to like do concealer down the nose, around the mouth, but I honestly feel like sometimes it's a bit too much product because I feel like you don't really need that much to get that bright look on your face. You can still highlight those areas. Just take the rest of the product that you have from your sponge and you can see it's like the perfect amount for those other areas on your face. So you see, with just doing a little extra on the under eye area, once you start blending it out to the other areas of your face, you don't really need a ton of product. We'll also do some right in between the brows. I'm kind of loving a more like bright under eye look again. So I usually will go maybe like one shade below what my typical concealer shade would be to get like a natural bright under eye look. I don't want it to be too white, but I definitely want a little something, so that's what I do. And what I'm gonna do is for the inner corner of my eyes, I'm just gonna use an e.l.f. Flawless Concealer brush. This is my favorite brush and I use it every single time I do my makeup. I use it to clean up the concealer around my brows, and I also really like it to blend out the concealer in the inner part of my eyes. Sometimes the sponge can only do so much, so I like to just get in there just to be a little bit more precise and blend out those areas. Okay, so now I'm gonna do a little cream bronzer, and I don't really do cream contouring on a daily, but I do cream bronze. So I don't like sculpt out my cheeks and do anything super crazy. I really just like to do this to add a little warmth back to my skin. And I always find that whenever I use a cream bronzer and a cream blush underneath of the powder bronzer and blush, it just makes it last a little bit longer, and obviously that's what we're going for today. And I just feel like the cream products just make your skin look a little more sun-kissed, a little more golden, and I love that look. So I'm gonna use the Haley's Replay foundation stick today. This one is in the shade 7.25. I've used this many times. It's one of my favorite foundation sticks. It's super creamy, melts into the skin, and it's a super easy product to work with. And let's look at the skincare benefit in this one. I wanna get it right, so again, that's why I pull up my phone, because I wanna make sure I'm pronouncing everything properly. Plant phospholipids. So it says it promotes super hydration, which I agree with, because again, the formula is really nice and creamy and easy to work with. So this is what it looks like. It is definitely more on the warm side, but I love a good warm bronzer, especially in the summertime. And a little bit of this also goes a long way. And I'm gonna show you guys my little trick to make this look as wearable and natural and sun-kissed as possible. So I'm using the Fenty 125 face brush. This is like the secret weapon to cream bronzing. This brush makes it so easy, and it gives you the most like softest airbrush look. I'm obsessed with it. So what I like to do is I just take the brush and I dip directly into the cream product. Any cream product will work with this brush. And I just like to take that and I kind of like to dab a little bit of the extra product right on the back of my hand, just because especially this one, it's so pigmented and it's very warm. So I don't want to use too much. Obviously we're going for something natural, sun-kissed. And then from here, I go in and I just start stippling in that product. It just makes it so easy to work with this brush. And then especially when you kind of dust off the excess product on the back of your hand, it just makes it go on a little bit softer. I really like to press this like in my hairline just to, again, make this look natural. And I really like to stipple the product in. You want to like stipple, and what I mean by stipple is literally you want to like tap it in versus rubbing the product like this, because if you rub, you're going to rub away the foundation that you just spent all that time blending out. So just like that. Oh, I love the color, and I feel like this brush will work with, like I said, literally any cream product. And the shape of this brush also kind of almost does the work for you. You just kind of stamp it right on the hollows of your cheeks, really close to this part of like your hairline, and then you stamp it in and it just like naturally gives you a little bit of a chisel, but not too much. So that's like my little trick with cream bronzing. I find it to be so much easier using that brush, dabbing the product on the back of your hand and then applying it versus drawing a bunch of lines on your face. And plus then you don't have to worry about adding another layer of a cream product to your face. So it keeps that really nice coverage, but it's still really lightweight, which is what we're going for. So I'm also gonna do a little cream blush. This one's from Fenty. It's in the shade Petal Poppin'. It's just like a really pretty everyday pink. With this product, I like to use a stippling brush. This one's from Eco Tools. I found this, I think, at Marshall's or TJ Maxx. So I like to just dip directly into the blush, and then again stippling into the cheeks. I like to apply this upwards towards where the cream bronzer is, just to make it look really seamless. I will also do some right on the tip of the nose and down the bridge of it as well. And lately I'm really into like a lot of blush, like I really like it, but obviously do this to your liking. And again, make sure that you're stippling in the product, not rubbing, because you don't want to rub away all the work that you just did. Plus the product will really stick nicely onto the skin when you do it that way. And something else I like to do before using any type of powder on my face is I always like to go back in with a sponge, and I will just kind of go in with any excess foundation that I have on the sponge. It'll help to kind of just blend the lines out a little bit more, make it look a little bit more seamless. And then of course, to set everything, I'm gonna go in with my one and only Pride and Joy, the Haley's Retouch Perfecting Loose Setting Powder. This is the most smoothing airbrush powder you will ever put on your face. When I first discovered this last summer, I was just shocked and amazed at how soft my skin looked. Like I had never tried a powder that was this smoothing. It's incredible. So the like magic ingredient in this powder, and the majority of Haley's products, and actually all the products that I used in today's video, is spherical powder. It says here it's a super ingredient behind many of their formulas, and it uses light diffusing technology that blurs, agree, creates that flawless Instagram filter effect. And my favorite way to apply this powder is with a sponge. I just feel like it gives you the prettiest effect. It's still really soft, but it sets your makeup really nicely. Like, do you see how soft that looks? I will lightly go over like the bronzer and the blush. Again, it's not gonna alter that color. You can still see those shades peeking through, but I like to do it just to make sure everything is nice and smooth and seamless. I'm gonna finish up my lips and my lower lashes really quick, and then I'll be right back and we will finish up the cheeks and be all done with this foundation routine. So give me 1 second. All right, lips are done. I just did some lower lash mascara, a little inner corner highlight. Now let's set the bronzer and the blush. Someone is cutting a tree right now. I hope you guys can't hear it, but I'm pretty sure you can. All right, well, good thing we're at the end, so let's just get this going. All right, I'm gonna go in with the Fenty Sunstalker Instant Warmth Bronzer in the shade Shady Biz. This is my favorite bronzer. It's the most perfect color. Of course, they have a bunch of other shades as well, but I feel like this color on me is like the most perfect warm tone shade. Great for every day, great for contouring, obviously, because it's matte, and I feel like no matter how much of this I use, it never looks muddy on my skin. It's so good, and I have a new favorite bronzer brush that is like life-changing. It's from the e.l.f. Retro Paradise collection, and this one is their airbrush blender. You guys, this is so good for bronzer. It's kind of like a bigger version of the Fenty brush. The bristles are a little bit different, but it just does a really good job at stamping in your bronzer and just giving you the most perfect, like natural kind of chiseled look, which is what I go for every day. So I'm gonna just dip into this and then just basically set where I did the cream bronzer. Such a good brush. It's like the perfect size. I'm not sure if you can get it by itself, but the other brushes in the kit are really good as well. So I'm just kind of like, again, stamping that in there. I feel like when you stamp your products in, it really helps for them to just last better versus like just rubbing in your products. Another brush that I love is from Japanesque. It's the 726 brush. This brush makes it really easy to nose contour, which I'm not good at nose contouring like at all, but this makes it a little bit easier. So I like to just take that same bronzer and just drag it right down the sides of the nose. This brush makes me think that like I know what I'm doing with my nose, but like I really don't. But it makes it a little bit easier to apply the product, and it's like a good size, good shape, so you can kind of blend as you go as well. And then for blush, this is a newer favorite. It's the Profusion Blush 3 palette. This is like my dream blush palette, like my kinds of tone. So I literally just do like a little bit of everything. So pretty. Basically going over where we, of course, did the cream blush and everything, just enhancing everything so it lasts a little bit longer. And I've also been using this color right here in the middle of the palette. Been applying it right into my crease. If you have not tried blush on the lids, you need to. It is so pretty and natural. And then today for highlight, I'm gonna go in with the Ofra highlighter. This one's in the shade Blissful. I love their highlighters. They're super intense, but today I'm gonna do just a little bit. Like I want like a little bit of a glow, but I don't want anything too crazy, so I'm gonna be really light-handed with this product. Just like barely dipping my brush, tapping off the excess, and then I'm just applying that right to the tops of the cheekbones. So you see, if you're like really light-handed, it could be really subtle, but you could definitely amp up this highlighter and take it to like the next level. but I'm gonna keep it light, just dust it. And last but certainly not least, I'm gonna go in one last time with the Milani Make It Last. And this one is, again, the Dragon Fruit Peach, which I love the scent. All right, you guys, so that is it for this full coverage Instagram filter inspired foundation routine. Obviously, my skin is not perfect like an Instagram filter, but these products definitely help. So I will link everything that I used down below if you guys are interested. Don't forget to use my code JUICY for $5 off at checkout if you do decide to shop on Haley'sBeauty.com. Definitely go show them some love. Try out some of these products if you have not already. They're always also having a ton of promos and stuff and deals, so definitely sign up for their newsletter as well. And yeah, that is it. Thank you guys so much for being here today, and thank you once again to Haley's for working with me on today's video. I love you guys, and I'll see you very soon in my next one. Bye.